you want your headphones on?
Oh, headphones on. Yeah. Hi, I'm John Maida, VP of AI and Design, and this is my colleague.
Evan Shockey.
Evan Shockey is very important. He's the GPM of Semantic Kernel. Evan, how long have you been working on Semantic Kernel?
Ooh, almost a year now, John.
And these t-shirts, what do they say?
Plugins, planners, and personas.
That's what we're going to cover, right?
That's right.
Let's see how far we get.
Yeah, let's dive in.
Timer's on. Here we go. Okay. All righty. Here we go. So first off, there's that new YouTube show, Cozy AI Kitchen.
I've watched it.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Now I want to note that Evan invented. Can you pass a model, please, Evan?
I sure can.
Evan invented the idea that a foundation model is like a
brick.
Right? Why is it like a brick, Evan?
It doesn't soak up any of your data. It just helps you build what you need to build.
It's not trying to take your data away from you, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's nice and easy. And so let's watch a quick clip from Cozy AI Kitchen episode 1.
Let's do it.
Okay.
What if I told you that you could gather all your customer pain points and sort them and actually do something with that? That's going to be the topic of this episode of the Cozy AI Kitchen. But what we're going to do is we're going to cook. And what we're going to cook is a variety of things. First off, we're going to use semantic code because semantic code, as you know, is very powerful. It's the glowing. And semantic code is basically AI prompts. But AI prompts don't work unless you have an AI model. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a little bit of a GPT 3.5 turbo. See that shine, sparkle? I want to note that everyone thinks that the model is going to soak your data, right? It's a brick. It's a brick. Bricks, the same everywhere in the world. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to use some old-fashioned code, regular code too, because the regular kind of way of computation hasn't changed. We're going to take these ingredients and cook them in an AI system to be able to kind of get this to work. 1 second. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's a lot of them. I'm going to put the brick over here to work with this. Okay. And of course, we're going to take the kind of data that you acquire as the global research guru of McKinsey and add that to the orchestration, and we're going to cook away. That's, of course, a metaphor, as you know. Let's go to the code now, shall we? All right. Now we're in the code. And I want to remind you, we're in the Cozy AI Kitchen. So are you feeling cozy in there, Ben? Are you feeling cozy still?
All good so far, John. Not very,
So far.
worried if there's going to be a fire with the paper and the toaster.
Coding, we both code, right?
We do.
And this kind of AI is kind of different to code with.
It is. What's your favorite type of code?
My favorite type of code, of course, is Lisp code, which you laugh at me for.
I like dotnet.
Okay. Oh, ouch. There we go. I said the wrong thing, everyone. Anyways, there we go. Okay. So Ben, the Cozy AI Kitchen invites guests to really kind of learn about, the guests. We have different quotes. This is from Ben. Ben's a McKinsey person. And we walk through a repo of code. And I know you know Semantic Kernel by heart. We code all the time in Semantic Kernel. This is the recipe. It uses tokens. What are tokens?
So tokens are really the cost, the value that you have to provide to the LM, so that way you get all that goodness to come out.
Yeah, those tokens and the glowing, right? Yeah. And we have a ready-made design thinking plugin.
We do plugins. That's the way to go. You can reuse it no matter what your code base is.
Reusable computation. We're going to fire up a kernel. When you fire up a kernel, you're using the NuGet package, right?
That's right.
Just for you all to know, I am not a native C#.NET coder, but thanks to Evan, I am getting better every day. How am I doing, Evan?
You're doing great.
Okay, I got to stop saying Lisp, right? That's from a different decade. All right, and we have stickers now, Evan.
We do. So if you happen to be in the area and we're doing a presentation, come on by to get a sticker.
Those are cool stickers. Wow. Okay. All right. now we're going to go into semantic kernel. Now, semantic kernel, there's an Azure OpenAI versus OpenAI Flip. Why do we have that? Again?
So there's two different models that you really services. So we have the public OpenAI that you can use, and that one's awesome. We also have Azure OpenAI service. So if you want to have OpenAI in your Azure tenant, you can do that.
Blue, that's like blue OpenAI, right?
That's great.
There we go. Okay. And then we use plugins, and when you use plugins, we can bring them in from your directory of plugins, or you can have them inline, and they can be either native or semantic. So Sam Scalacci, the deputy CTO, this was his invention, right? This idea of both. Why are both important?
Oh, it's really important to have both, right? So whether you want to write this new type of language in these prompts, or you want to have just your C# code running to again help the model, ground the model, pull data. It's great to have both options. I mean, who doesn't want two options?
Native and semantic, right? Okay, so when you make a plugin, it has input, right? Context variables, so it's like a regular kind of function. And then because it's a regular code, you can also plate the meal. This example available in the Jupyter C#.NET Notebook Online. And we can also look at the science. So like when you run a prompt, you want to measure the tokens. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you want to know again what your spend looks like, what's going on, right? So that way you can know and you can measure that if you make changes in the future.
And it's getting a lot less expensive, right?
It is, yeah. The Azure OpenAI service and OpenAI and even other model providers keep lowering the price, and you get more and more power.
There's also open source models, and we also support open source models, right?
That's right. If you find amazing models through things like Hugging Face, you can use that, or you can even bring in your own model if you want, whether that's a remote model or even local models.
And Evan, the motivation behind the Cozy AI Kitchen is the hyperparameter temperature, because hot versus cold, right? So
right.
If you make it too hot, it gets kind of random. If you make it too cold, it gets kind of robotic. So it's like a dial.
Exactly.
Oven, right?
Yeah, just like cooking.
Okay, so if you follow along on episode 1, you can make a delicious AI meal, which is best using a model, but no embeddings. No embeddings.
I bet I know what's coming up next.
We know embeddings. Exactly. Here we go. All right. So the second episode of the Cozy AI Kitchen involves embeddings. And so let's watch a clip from that.
What if you could get career advice from a mentor without having to schedule a meeting with them? Find out how by building yourself with AI next. So Kevin is a coder, and Kevin actually debugged some of my code in a book that I wrote, and he noticed my code was wrong, so look out. But Kevin, what we're going to do is we're going to use regular code for this cooking session, regular code, good old-fashioned code. But we're also going to bring out, because it's you, Kevin, the good stuff. This is semantic code, right?
Okay.
It's magical. It's got this amazing property. It's like next level. And we're going to be able to bring in a mentoring plugin, because I know a lot of people look up to you as someone who they want to become. I've seen this stuff on social. So we're going to cook this up. Basically, we need a plugin, the mentoring plugin. I don't want too much of that. And we need a lot of semantic code, because there's a lot of prompts involved in that. So let me get that in there. This part can go wrong sometimes, Kevin, so be careful. Okay, there we go. Okay, and then we're going to add, of course, some old-fashioned code. It's good. But Kevin, I did something that I hope you're okay with, which is I used the internet to gather some of your famous quotes. Yeah, I know, they're on this. I'm going to add those to the orchestration process. And of course, grandma's embeddings, right? Because we want to make sure that it gets encoded correctly. And let's now cook that up on the computer, shall we?
Let's
All
go
right.
forward.
Okay, so you can see it over there. All right, so this is the Cozy AI Kitchen. Everyone who loves to look at code, reminder, this is Kevin Bethune.
Now I want to note that moment where we have the two kinds of models. So we love GPT 3.5 Sparkle Turbo. There's also 4, cool stuff.
And 4
What
Turbo.
model are you carrying in your hands?
I'm carrying my Ada embedding model. John.
It's a different model, isn't it?
It is. It looks different, right? It does different things.
That embedding thing, the long vector embedding thing, this is basically a machine that takes words, sentences, and turns them into vectors of numbers.
That's right. And that way, the your whole process, your LMs, can know what to do with them.
Similarity, a way to measure semantic similarity. So just know that two models are at play. And in this recipe from Kevin, who is an incredible design guru, strategy, business expert, in this episode, we again use tokens. But notice how we're like doing two kinds of tokens here.
We are. Yeah.
It's kind of like a whole wheat and regular flour, maybe, or buckwheat flour.
Sometimes you need both.
You got to mix them together, right?
That's right.
So these two together, wow. And we have a plugin, of course. Plugin, right? We have a plugin.
That's where it starts.
Well, you got to have a plugin.
You do.
It makes it so much easier. All right. Then we're going to fire up a kernel with two models.
Nice.
One model, two models. Right. So I'm going to fire it up. And sure enough, we've got that memory builder action there. You see that? We've got the memory builder and the kernel builder together, like two muscles, two guns, right? Here we go. And then we're going to collect the context with memory. This model here, what we're going to do is we're going to convert all those strings into vectors of numbers, right? Gosh, it's like growing corn or something.
Math and science is amazing.
It's beautiful. So there we go. So we're going to grow those long vectors. And then this example of a query. Because what you can do once these things are sitting in your local vector database, in this case, you just got to compare. You can compare anything you want to, a query to everything that's in the vector database. Now, I want to note that Ada appeared once, but Ada is all done with its work, right?
Yeah, but there's more. There's always the next thing coming.
And also, if you want to take more strings and vectorize them, you need Ada. But once you're done with Ada, you stuff them in the database. Ada isn't that important unless you are comparing it to something. So you take the query, and the query goes back to Ada,
sure,
and you generate a vector, and you do vector comparison. Notice everyone does this signal cosine similarity.
Mm-hmm.
You do this thing with the vectors of hands.
Yeah.
Looks kind of cool, right?
That's great.
If you're a math nerd, you're like cosine similarity, right? Cool. So that's the whole point of the vectors. Okay. All right. So let's use a completion model that's grounded. Grounding is so important because otherwise they hallucinate.
And they just live in a lot. Yeah. If you don't ground and really just give context, then it's, what are you going to do?
Because groundless stuff means contextless. So let's look at example of an ungrounded case of a plugin that is not able to emulate Kevin's good career advising. And what happens is we're using a plugin called Mentor plugin, Career Advice Generic. And Career Advice Generic looks something like this. It's basically saying for career advice about input, respond like a mentor. Right? Now, if you use that one, it knows nothing about Kevin. It's going to make stuff up.
Sure.
Now, Evan, how many times have we made prompts that hallucinate? Probably a lot.
Somewhat often, especially early days.
Early days, because we didn't know how to this model here. We would be talking GPT. But remember that moment we're like, Ada, is that what you do? Remember that?
I do.
It was like we had this moment in the kitchen, and we've been cooking for a while. It's like, oh, Ada, betting. It was an amazing moment. Those of you who are experts, you're like laughing at us, but that's how we began. We're learning, just like you. I think every day, Evan, aren't we learning something new?
I'd say every minute, every hour, there's new AI techniques coming out, which is great. We're all learning together as the whole world.
Exciting times, right? Okay, so that's an ungrounded prompt. It will hallucinate. However, when you get grounded, all you got to do to get grounded is you basically want to use, you want to take the question you're asking, convert it into a vector with Ada, and then compare it, and then now stuff your prompt with, oh my gosh, it's like Thanksgiving time in North America.
That's right.
It's like stuffing, right?
Turducken.
Stuff the turkey. Right, so you're going to stuff the prompt. And how do you stuff the prompt? This is a grounded mentor plugin. For a career advice question about input, respond as a mentor to the design. Limit the response to just this context, right? That's
Perfect.
stuffing, right? That's like,
Right.
don't only use this stuffing, don't make it up. And so then what happens is you take the input, you extract the beliefs through the similarity process of comparing your query to the embeddings, and voila, you end up with something similar to what Kevin says.
Which is great, right? That's what you want. You want the best response you can possibly get based on the context and based on the information that you pass into it.
And this is why Evan's favorite acronym, RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. I'm laughing because we had a hard time about the RAG thing. We were ragging each other.
We were.
I know, early days. But this is the basis of RAG. Isn't RAG so elegant and easy?
It is. And we keep making it easier and easier. Literally every week, every month, there's new patterns that emerge.
Oh
And
my gosh.
especially as Microsoft, it keeps getting easier.
Yeah, so what cool times. Okay. So anyways, just a note, summary episode 1, we worked with one model. Episode 2, we used a completion model and an embedding model, and we're able to reduce hallucinations. Okay. In the same way, the same kind of science applies, right?
That's right.
Tokens, hyperparameters, right? Okay. All right. So episode 2, let's make a delicious AI meal. Now we're in the home stretch, everyone. If you've lasted this long, we're honored to have you, actually.
You should come get a sticker at some point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That's a total win. Okay. So everyone knows about Hello World, but there's a new Hello World, folks. It's Hello Agents.
Ooh.
Right? Hello Agents. New era has happened.
Yep.
What are agents?
Well, what's another word for
Right.
agents, would you say? You know,
Assistant? Maybe no.
Assistants,
Co-pilot?
co-pilots.
Or-
What about personas down at the bottom?
See, Evan is
Personas.
the straight man on this call. Personas, plugins, planners. We didn't talk about planners, mind you. Personas. So agents are personas. We thought that personas were going to land maybe a year and a half from now, but they have landed.
They're here.
It's like the Beatles landing in America, right? The agents have arrived much earlier than we expected. So what really are agents? First of all, they are a beautiful abstraction on top of LLMs and memory, because you've seen us do this stuff in code. It's like early C language style programming. It's beautiful, but it's a lot of parts. But agents are an abstraction that are on top of all of that. And Evan loves agents.
I do. It's amazing when you can have agents start to do work for you.
Loves agents. And then the GPT trend, the Beatles have landed, and right now it's time.
That's right.
Evan's been waiting for this, and I didn't think it would happen this soon, but you called it, Evan.
I did.
You're like, you can predict stuff. That's amazing. And they can collaborate with each other, multi-agent, like we collaborate with each other.
That's right. That's why we're in the same room right now.
Same room, same t-shirt, right? There we go. Okay, so plugins, personas is what we're talking about. And of course, we missed the chance to talk about planners because we want to stay bounded in time. But you wanted to learn about personas because we've been holding back that for half a year now.
We have.
Asking about personas. Okay, so personas. We have a blog post. Just type in Semantic Kernel and you'll be able to visit our blog. This is Matthew Bolaños. He's like an amazing product manager, also developer, everything under the sun. And we have a new post about an experimental repo that shares our V1 design of assistants.
Exciting.
That guy, I love that guy. So anyway, so this is a regular chat. This is a person talking with an agent, but we're providing different scenarios like
Hierarchical chat. You can talk with one bot or to many bots.
multi-agent.
That's great.
Multi-agent. And then we got joint chat. Joint chat is the more sophisticated way of having one delegate communicate with everyone. And when you think about it, we have plugins, right? Because agent assistants need plugins, and there you have them, built in Semantic Kernel. I'll note again, plugins are writable in native code, C#, Python, Java, also Semantic. And this is a search plugin that you'll recognize from writing Bing, using the Bing API. And then the assistants are just basically assistant kernel,
That's right.
right? And maybe you have a lot of experience writing this kind of YAML stuff about defining agents. Can you talk about your friend Mike?
Sure.
Mike, from Mike creates these incredible assistants. He's like the Mozart of creating personas. I'm going to embarrass him, but they're so amazing.
That's right. Yeah, you can again really set the persona of the assistant to do the type of work that you need to do. I'll make some that write code for me, some that do my project management for me, some that write tests for me. So think about like what type of agents would be helpful for you to do your normal everyday job.
And an example of that YAML file is here. It's a researcher. You are a researcher that searches the web for information. That's the kind of basic persona, mind you. And the longer you can write that, what Evan calls a job description, you're able to really kind of hone in on what that agent should do.
That's right.
So, it's time to cook because everyone loves a live demo, don't they?
They do. Yeah. Let's show some code. That's what everybody's waiting for.
Let's run. We're gonna show you some assistance. Okay. Stop screen. I'm gonna go ahead and leave Studio Present. Share screen. Open VS Code. That looks like VS Code. There we go. Okay. All right. Okay. So here we have an example of the assistant running as assistant kernel, and I'm going to do an old-fashioned .NET run. And what this is doing is it's creating a community of agents that include a researcher, a mathematician, because as you know, LLMs aren't good at math, but they're good at a lot of things. They're okay. There's a designer agent, and there's a project manager agent, near and dear to Ivan's heart. And it sits in a loop, and user is queried, and the user adds a bit of energy, and then it starts to kind of like roll on its own.
And who's the user, John?
The user is me in this case.
Okay.
Yeah, this is that it's waiting for me to say something. Let me say, what is the height of the Eiffel Tower? Okay. So what that is doing is notice how project manager handed off the researcher.
Nice.
What is the height of the Eiffel Tower? Researcher, of course, has access to that cool thing called Bing. And voila, the Eiffel Tower comes back and the project manager reports back. That's important to relay the information.
That's always the way, right? The developer does the work, the researcher here, and then the project manager gets the credit.
Or let's say I want to create a poster for a garden show coming up this spring. Here we go. And if you recall, there are different agents available, and the project manager is going to the image designer now. And the image designer is really kind of either going to ask questions and wait for you to respond, or just continue going.
Yeah, and that's part of that grounding in context. Again, the more information you can give, even to your agents and your assistants, the better.
There we go. So it's an example of you can, and also weirdly, you can use the knowledge you have to generate new agents. Right?
That's
the
right.
Agents can write agents.
Yeah, if you want them to do that.
Can write job descriptions. So that's a quick glance at how we're thinking about AI. Remember plugins and personas. Some of you are tired of us hearing about talking about planners, but planners are really important. Evan, can you say a few words about planners?
They are, yeah. So if you're not familiar with planners or you haven't looked at planners, they're right here. So you've got the plugins, right, to go connect to your outside data systems, your sources there. The planners really help the agents and the personas go do dynamic planning. Think about this of sort of chain of thought. When someone gives you a task as a developer, you need to think through that. You need to figure out what are the steps you're going to take, what tools you're going to use. And those tools are plugins, right? And then you can go and execute on that task and really deliver that productivity gain back to whoever's asking you to do that.
What's important to remember is that we made plugins, planners, and personas for a reason. Personas are like where the field of future is heading, and it just landed like a week ago. But really, for everyday use, if you've got plugins, then planners are perfect for like daily use because they're more predictable, right?
And especially for you have really the intake for plugins, which is really all those systems that you already manage today, right? All those APIs that are out there. Describe those APIs so that way the LLMs can pick them up and know what to do with the systems that you run and manage.
And the planners are already available. They with 1.0.0 coming out December 15th.
That's right.
Whoa, those planners are looking good. And the planners will be able to work with your plugins and do a more, still using semantic code, but it's more understandable from an engineering perspective. That said, personas have landed early. So we wanted to sort of provide early preview of that paradigm. And we're just going to see more of it. So we're also providing that little future piece as well, all before the year ends.
Yeah, and it's exciting. Again, all these ingredients coming together. You know, the things that you started with plugins and planners are really coming to fruition, hopefully early next year. So you can start to make your own AI agents and AI personas to go help you and your end users and your customers get work done.
So in closing, we want to thank you for taking the time to learn about large language model AI app development. If you tried Semantic Kernel out, if you're part of the community, because we're open source, thank you for your contributions. I'm John.
And I'm Evan, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye.